Hey, Joey here from the Hitting Performance Lab. Mr. Ant, what's going on, brother? Hey, I'm glad you sent me your swing video, and you made up for not sending me your swing video last week and not sending me the side video you deadlift by sending me your swing video this week. So, but good, I get to see you from the side on the swing, and most of what we're working on your deadlift anyway I can see from the front. So let's take a look at your swing first, and I'm going to go in normal motion, or your normal speed, and then we'll slow it down. So it looks, just looking at it from right here, it looks a little, what am I looking for? A little forced, like the movement is forced, like you're using too much muscle here instead of being more explosive and letting the weight kind of fall on its own. So let's go back and just look at it, and let's see if maybe we can just get a couple reps, like a bracket, where we can look at it in slow motion. Okay, so let's look at it here in slow-mo. Okay, so what it looks like is we're getting a little high with the weight. It's almost like we're trying to throw it through the ceiling. See how it's getting way up over our shoulders over here? The weight shouldn't get any higher than about shoulder level. And what I want you to do is I want you to really try and throw as the weight starts coming up, and as you're pushing you're squeezing your butt cheeks as hard as you can, powering your hips forward, because it's all this move comes from is from the back movement. So the back movement with the hips, because what you're doing is you're loading up the hamstring and the butt here, so you're doing this very well. Obviously we've been working on this for a while now, and you have a good spinal angle here, which is beautiful. Okay, just be careful, I can't really tell because it's blurring. Don't let the head rock back, but I think you're pretty good here. You've definitely come a long way on that. But as you drop into this position, this is like loading up. You're loading up the bow on a bow and arrow, right? This is your bowstring, your butt and your hamstring. You even get some loading up here in the Achilles tendon and the calf. But we have a beautiful spine angle here. You're keeping that very, very well. And we're going to load that bow up, and then what's going to happen as you thrust forward, see how your butt's kind of staying backwards? What should happen here in these frames, these 3 or 4 frames, is that we should see your butt squeeze as hard as you can. You're trying to thrust your hips forward. So if I were to erase all these and I were to attach, say, a bungee to your hips, you were wearing a belt, a waist belt, and I attached a bungee to, say, a wall that was back here, right, and it was pulling you, so when your hips come forward you'd feel the tension. That's what I want to feel you do. I want you to feel like you're pulling on a bungee that's attached to a wall behind you. You're trying to really force your hips forward as hard as you can, so you're squeezing your butt cheeks as hard as you can. This is where it's going to help out your deadlift side of things. So I want you to really power those glutes, those hips forward, so you don't really come forward until about right there. Okay, this is the problem in our deadlift. This is why you're leading with your head. So even in the swing you can see you're doing that with your head. So you watch your head. So you look good here, your spine angle and your head, and then your head starts to rock back. See that? See how now instead of being a straight line, we're here with our spine, and then our head comes up this way. See that? How we kind of break our line? So we'll erase those two. But here's where it's going to really help your deadlift. You're going to see your numbers soar once we get this. So I want you to imagine the bungee attached to a waist belt. You're wearing a waist belt. There's a bungee attached to it from the backside, and it's creating tension on a anchor to a wall behind you. So I want you to really power those hips forward. That's what's going to get this weight going up. You shouldn't use any of your shoulders. You shouldn't be using any shoulder muscles. You shouldn't be really using anything in your arms. It should all be the motion of tightening these bowstrings and your hamstrings and your butt, and then powering your hips forward. This is what's going to help not only your deadlift but your power clean. When we start getting into power clean next month, we want to really shift those hips forward. See how they're lagging. Alright, and then so what should happen from there is we should feel like we're throwing this weight out this way. Okay, from our shoulder. We want to toss that weight out as far as we can, not up. We don't want to toss it into the ceiling. Toss it out as far as you can. Got it? So if you focus on these two lines that I drew for you right here. So imagine you got a waist belt on with a bungee attached to it and anchored to a wall behind you, and you want to try and you got this tension in this line, this bungee, and you want to power those hips. Might even come up with that for you, maybe something like that. We'll try and figure that out and see where we can get maybe something like that. I don't know if you can set that up here at the gym, but at least give you that idea if that's what you're doing. And then once you power those hips forward, that's what's going to get that weight going out and not up. But other than that, it looks good. Like I said, your head at the top is still kind of arching, and I can see it in our deadlift. If we look over here and we'll watch it in fast motion, you can see you look up just right there, boom, just a little bit. Okay, this one I think you're a little better, and we're doing 3 sets of 2, so okay, better there, but you still looked up. Do you see that? Let's see it again, slow motion. You can see you pick up your eyes or pick up your head to get that last little bit. You see that boom? Okay, I can see that from the front. I know that's happening from the side. But that is the same thing you're doing. It's a default motor pattern that's happening over here in your swing, which you're using less weight obviously, but it's more of a powerful movement, more explosive movement in your swing. So as a recap, work on your swing. I think this swing pattern is actually going to help your deadlift majorly. As we conclude this video, imagine these two things. Like I told you, you're throwing the weight away as far as you can, out as far as you can, not up. Okay, so this weight should never get up above you. Okay, and a good thing with this is, let me grab my line drill again, is we should be nice and straight and tall right here. We shouldn't lean at all. If we lean, we're going to use our back, and you're not doing that too bad, but once you start throwing the weight out away from you instead of up, you'll start to get that positioning better. But imagine that bungee attached to your butt, and you just got to thrust those hips forward as hard as you can. That's what's getting that weight going up. And as the weight comes down, as you come down, it's just the weight of the weight that comes down. You're not using your arms to try and pull this weight down. It's a very tempo oriented move. You thrust with your hips, and then you let the weight drop. But looking good, dude. Got any questions, you know where to find me.